Hey everyone, welcome to Marvel Time. This is issue number 65. As you can see, we're doing things a little bit differently today. It's just going to be me and Bekah. Sorry, Bekah. Again, still figuring out the point thing somehow. It's been over a year. How are you, Bekah?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We had some fun Marvel stuff today with well, we're only going to talk about one comic today. So like I said, changing things up, but we do have the What If finale to talk about as well. So let's get started like we always do here with our comic. And we're going to be talking about Amazing Spider-Man number 75. This was a good one for you to jump into because this is sort of the start of a new story. We're jumping into the Beyond era now. So I'm curious, what were your thoughts on this?
I enjoyed it. I'm a little lost with everything that's going on, and it comes in like Peter Parker has sounds like some big bad stuff just happened right before this, so I'm a little bit lost. But um, and it's interesting enough because it's got me thinking and trying to piece things together. So I like that engagement of it.
Yeah, and don't worry because Ben and I talked about every issue leading up to this one, and we were still a little bit lost. There was a whole lot where Harry Osborn was back, but he's dead, and he was back and he's dead, and so there was a lot of weird stuff going on. And we were happy that story had finally wrapped up, and we were ready to move into this one. And this one didn't disappoint. I really liked this as a first issue. We knew that we were getting into some stuff with Ben Reilly in conjunction with Peter Parker. And I think Ben Reilly is such an interesting character. He's a clone of Peter Parker. So he has, these memories of things that, to him happened, but didn't really happen. And so it's that whole dynamic already there. And then you throw Spider-Man into the mix and makes things even more interesting. I really like the way they're going with the Beyond story here. So there's like this corporation has purchased the name Spider-Man, and now they're like, he's going to be this corporate hero with Ben Reilly in the costume as opposed to Peter Parker. And I like that idea. I don't know if you've watched the show The Boys at all, but that idea of corporate superheroes is sort of like, it follows that a lot. So it's a really fun concept.
I haven't watched The Boys, but I have seen plenty of advertisements for it. I didn't piece together though that so it's like corporate superheroes.
Yeah.
Very very interesting way to approach that. And I don't know, it kind of feels in some ways like with the Sokovia Accords, like these people get to dictate almost, where you go and what you get to do, but then
and
what's the trade-off?
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those things that we talk about a lot on here where it's like we really love those grounded stories where it's like this feels like something that if superheroes existed in the real world, this is the kind of stuff that would happen. We enjoy those huge intergalactic stories with those massive consequences and stuff like that, like we'll talk about in What If in a little bit. But these stories that just feel so real, like very real world, those are the ones that end up being my favorites. And this is a good start for something like that. I am very curious to see how long, because this is Amazing Spider-Man, right? Like this isn't one of those other other Spider-Man titles because there's 100 of them. This is the Amazing Spider-Man. It's that Spider-Man comic. How long is this possibly going to focus on Ben Reilly and not Peter Parker? This issue in particular obviously had a lot of focus on Peter, but it looks like going forward, that focus is going to shift. I'm really curious how long that lasts.
Now, we've had different iterations of Spider-Man all along. Is there one that's your favorite, or are you like how do you feel about spending more time with Ben Reilly? Is it
I'm definitely excited to spend more time with Ben Reilly and get to know more about this character and especially in this story where it's going. But if I was to choose a favorite, it's just normal Peter Parker, Earth 616 Peter Parker. I'm a fan of the classics. When you create such a great character, I'll stick to the original one.
Sure.
I love the other stuff too, but this is my personal choice.
Very cool. Yeah.
So any other thoughts on this comic before we jump into What If?
He has is it Jeannie or Janie character?
The girlfriend.
Yeah, is she like kind of the not alternate Mary Jane, but is she kind of?
Yeah, I'm interested in learning more about her because this is jumping in, like you mentioned before. We're following right up on the Peter Parker story, but we don't know exactly what happened with Ben Reilly right before this. And there are the two bonus stories at the end of this comic that kind of give us like, oh well, this is 2 weeks before, and this is 2 weeks before that.
Okay.
So it seems like they're going to kind of piece that together for us as we go along. So I'm really interested in seeing that and learning more about these other side characters.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to where this story is going. I wasn't sure how I felt about it with, following up the whole Sinister War thing with Peter Parker and then going into Ben Reilly and where this, all this other crazy stuff. But now I'm excited. I like the start of it here. So we'll see.
This is a completely, new writing team too, right? Or a new,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Nick Spencer wrapped up his Amazing Spider-Man run with, well, I guess, yeah, it was amazing. No, it was just Sinister War was the title. So I don't know how any of that stuff
Sinister War, Amazing Spider-Man,
exactly, yes. As we say a lot on here, the comic numbering just gets confusing. Yeah. But let's transition into What If, because we had the big season finale on Disney Plus today. I mean, I really, really liked it. It was pretty much exactly what I expected. There were obviously some details here and there that I wasn't expecting, but it delivered in such a big way. Mm-hmm. Like it couldn't miss. Like it was just perfect. It was what we wanted after seeing last week's episode.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking too, in comparison to the other Marvel Disney Plus shows, how we've all been like, oh, they're so great. And then the finale is just kind of a disappointment. This, right. You didn't have that same, because you're in so many different universes, you didn't have that same attachment to characters. And you're like, okay, what is going to happen? We had some theories about what would happen, but this, I think, was probably my favorite of the finales that we've seen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, strictly talking finales and what it delivered and what you were anticipating. Yeah, right. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even really think about the fact that, those other finales, not that they were letdowns, but we've talked about it. There were like issues with pacing and stuff like that. And so, yeah, this one I think delivered more so than any of the others. Well, maybe Loki, but we can talk about that another time. Yeah, so I really, really liked it. I like that we kind of, what we expected. The Watchers assembling this multi-dimensional Avengers team here, which I have one issue that we'll talk about in a little bit. But so we see him jump from one universe to the other from all the episodes we've seen. And I like that they opened up with Captain Carter, but in that Captain America, the Winter Soldier scene where they're going to the Lumerian Star on that mission. So I like that they just played that out with her instead of Steve. That was a really cool scene.
Yeah, and you got Batroc.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's funny they brought George St. Pierre back to pretty much do a bunch of grunts. Like you said, he had a couple of lines, but then a lot of it was just like, huh, huh, huh.
While you're doing Falcon and the Winter Soldier, can we just get you in the booth for a few lines? But yes, you're right.
Like you're getting punched for a few seconds here, and then yeah, that's perfect. So yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. They brought him on for just that little role. Thought it was interesting that one of the members of this team is Gamora from a universe we haven't seen. Mm-hmm. So I believe, and Benji mentioned this a few weeks back, that What If was supposed to be 10 episodes for season 1. And then they originally, they ended up having to cut it back. So we lost one episode. I'm guessing it would have been that Gamora episode. Right. And that's why she was a part of this finale, because otherwise it just kind of completely came out of left field. And,
yeah, that's true. I was thinking we would get a story for her initially, and then
right. Well, they showed her in this mid-season sneak peek, and I think in the trailer in the beginning and everything. So, we'd been. I mean, Benji asked how many weeks in a row now. Like, well, do we know what else we have left this season? And I kept saying Gamora. We know there's a Gamora episode, and sure enough, there was not. But she shows up in the finale here, though, so that was pretty cool. I'm very interested in what happened in that episode too, because that lost episode of What If, where she's with Tony Stark destroying the Infinity Gauntlet and has Thanos' armor on, which I'm not quite sure how that fits her, but we don't have to get into that.
Well, yeah, and she's also got that giant blade, the dual-sided or whatever you would call it. Yeah.
Yeah. The Darth Maul version.
Right.
Yeah.
Or looks like it goes on the Thanos helicopter. The Thanos chopper.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's where that blade came from. He just took it off the top of the Thanos copter. So we mentioned a couple things on Zacks of Life this past week, and questioning what we could expect to see in this finale. And one of them was, do we think they would put Killmonger on the team, because he's the main character of that episode, but he's also a villain. Like he's very different from these other characters. And sure enough, yeah, they did put him on this team, and I was happy that they did so, because kind of gave a different dynamic to. I would love to have spent more time. Like I wish this was a full length feature, right, because getting that dynamic with this team would have been a lot of fun. But I like that they had a different kind of character in there, and just cool to get more of Michael B. Jordan too.
Yeah. I was surprised that they had him initially, but then the way everything wraps up, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll get to that too. But the plan fell exactly as the Watcher anticipated, which is such a perfect Watcher thing. So I like that they went that way. But my one issue with this here is that, they made it such a thing with the Watcher. We're just like seeing him assemble this team. So it's the Avengers, right? You're assembling the Avengers. No, they're the Guardians of the Multiverse. Like, really? That's the name you're going to give them after going through all this?
Yeah, I know. Like, yeah, what is his name? Is it Uatu?
Uatu. Yeah, I don't know that they've ever actually called him Uatu in this show.
Okay.
But that is the main one.
The figure.
Yes.
Yeah, so why not, like, Uatu 6 or whatever? Or the
Uatu 6.
Or what, how, I don't even know if I don't even know if there were that many.
Yeah, it's about that much.
Something like that, or Team Uatu versus Team Ultron.
I like it. One of the funniest moments. So we Thor, Party Thor, whatever we want to call him, is Van Wilder Thor is what I called him on Zacks of Life. But one of the funniest moments in this episode, and he has quite a few. But is his battle cry as he, they start their fight against Ultron, and he yells "Viva Las Vegas" as he shoots lightning at Ultron. So that was pretty great. One of my favorite moments of the episode for sure.
Yeah, I like when he said nobody messes with Vegas at one point. I was like, yeah. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Which I have to imagine the Las Vegas Raiders are going to play that clip in the stadium.
Probably. Probably.
Or whatever other Las Vegas sports teams there are. I'm sure they have others too.
That's true. Yes. Sorry, lost my train of thought there. But I also liked when Thor was like, "Can you repeat it again?" He's like, I got the plan, but
right. Yeah.
maybe not everybody else knows what we're doing.
Yes, a classic Thor line there. Like, just fits perfectly. Oh, there we go. Kyle's got us covered. The Golden Knights can use that also. Nobody messes with Vegas. One of the other things we mentioned on Zacks of Life that we pondered, maybe they use this as a way to combat Ultron, was because we thought about what character did they take from the Zombies episode? Did they go Peter Parker? Did they just go with Paul Rudd's head?
That's right.
But then the idea of just, maybe they just throw a bunch of zombies at Ultron and see how that works out. And that is what ended up happening. Granted, that led to Doctor Strange points out it's not the zombies, it's what comes with the zombies. Right. Were you surprised that there wasn't more of an impact from zombie Wanda?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I was happy to see her, but then I also thinking back on it, I'm like, we didn't really need more, but yes, it was just kind of like so fast. And
yeah, it's just one of those things where I wish there was more time, because even, we see Wanda in Endgame, like, actually put up a fight with Thanos. So it would make sense that this Wanda would put up a fight with Ultron, but then he makes pretty short work of her, unfortunately. But I do still, I'm with you. I like that they included her in this episode. Another interesting moment that came in their fight, I thought, was, and this whole thing, the thing that bothers me a little bit with the Infinity Stones, and I'm hoping this is the last we see of them and we move on,
right?
Because we've gotten a lot of it now. But Ultron has the Infinity, and he's missing the Soul Stone for most of the fight, but he has the rest of them, and there's just so much power at his fingertips, and he just kind of doesn't use it. Like he's just hand-to-hand fighting them most of the time, and until eventually he's like, oh yeah, I can just stop time, and none of you can do anything about it. So I'm glad that they at least finally got there, as opposed to just ignoring all the power that he has. But it was interesting. I thought that didn't affect Doctor Strange, and they make it a point to show you like, oh, he still has his time stone,
right?
Because he's from a different universe. And that goes back, I think, to Loki when he's in the TVA and he opens a drawer and there's just a bunch of duplicate time or Infinity Stones. And it just kind of points out like, oh, there's much bigger power at play here than just those, basically what 22 movies led up to in the past. So definitely opening some doors for the MCU in the future.
Yes, I agree.
We also got some more Arnim Zola in this episode. They, things go awry and ends up with Black Widow having to get the Zola arrow and put that virus in Ultron. And Zola eventually takes out Ultron. Then we get the whole thing with Killmonger where, he turns on the team. He says, Watcher owes us this, which I thought was such a great Killmonger line. This is such a perfect storyline for him. And then he ends up, he's claiming the stones, but Zola starts fighting for the stones to get the stones back from him. And we actually get a very different look for Arnim Zola, which is very close to his comic book look because he's left in the body of Vision, but kind of like busted up like midsection of Vision. And that's where Zola's face shows up. So here's a look at what Arnim Zola looks like in the comics. And you kind of get this, it's just Vision's body instead of this body here. So I like that they gave us that look finally.
So did this come before MODOK? Did somebody say, let's take the MODOK look and improve on it?
Yeah, I would have to go back and look into the dates of when they made their debuts. I'm not exactly sure. That and I believe the character's name is Krang from the Ninja Turtles has a very similar look to this as well, with that little creature like in the body. So yeah, I'm sure there's Ninja Turtles fans that would be willing to correct me on that. But so yeah, I hadn't really thought about that with MODOK, but. Yeah,
I mean, that's the first thing that comes to mind. Like, if you had asked me to guess who that was, I would have said it's a version of MODOK.
Right. Which is very fair, looking at it, yeah.
Arnim Zola.
So they eventually, they finish off Ultron. Doctor Strange captures Killmonger and Zola, who are fighting over the stones, puts them in a pocket dimension to never be released. And, we get our sort of happy ending, the Watchers returning all of them to all of the team, the Guardians of the Multiverse, to their respective homes. But Captain Carter hesitates a little bit and asks, don't I deserve that happy ending? And, looks at a picture of Steve. And the Watcher, almost speaking directly to the audience, is like looks at us and winks and says, like, she's going to return in season 2. Like tells her, your universe needs Captain Carter. So, yeah, we'll be seeing more of her in season 2, the only one they've confirmed for us so far. We then get to see the only one left now is Black Widow. And we know that her universe has pretty much been wiped out by Ultron. She's the only person left. So she tells the Watcher, I'm not going back there. And the Watcher has another plan. He sends her to a universe that had lost its Black Widow. And I just thought that was really interesting because that opens up a lot of doors. I mean, it really furthers the precedent from what we saw in Avengers Endgame with Gamora and her returning after her death in Infinity War. So whether you're dealing with time travel or multiversal travel, which is essentially the same thing in what the MCU has given us, because time travel creates a new timeline, creates a new universe, whatever. So yeah, but there's just the door is open for any character to return at any time. And I mean,
and there you go. Now no death is finalized.
Exactly. Or yes, so we are 100% just in the comic book universe now. Movie fans will understand what us comic book fans have been dealing with for a very long time. But I mean, it's smart because you never burn any bridge, like no door is completely closed. Anyone could end up coming back at any point. So we'll see what that means for the future of the MCU. I mean, I would say nothing is off the table. You could see anybody come back.
Yeah, we might even get Mephisto. I mean, like,
Right.
sorry, I had to.
A whole other can of worms too. So that would be interesting.
But no, I didn't even think of it that way. But you're right. Like, yeah, you do have these options. There's so many more options now that, weren't available to us before. So.
Right. Yeah, and we'll see. I mean, the multiverse is going to get just absolutely crazy, as we've said before, but it's just going to get wild for the MCU, and I hope people are ready for it. I know they're not, but I hope they can be, because it's going to get wild. One last thing to talk about with this finale is the mid-credit scene that we got. That I mean, we were all expecting this, right? Like, you don't get a Marvel finale without a post-credit, mid-credit scene. So it was Captain Carter. I guess I was hoping for something bigger. I don't know what I wanted, really. I just wanted something crazy. And because we knew we were getting her in season 2, probably should have figured it was going to be focused on Captain Carter. And we see Widow lead her to a shipping container that has the Hydra Stomper in it. So she's, excited and a little bit confused that the Hydra Stomper is still around. And then Widow tells her there's someone inside. And, she has that surprise look that's like almost a smile. And then the episode cuts to black, and that's the end of season 1 of What If. I am not sure how I feel about that mid-credit scene. I'm not sure why would Steve still be alive? I'm
right.
not sure where they're going with this. Although we did talk about this a while back. I think that was on here, that what if, Steve becomes the Winter Soldier, and that's what she deals with in her second episode.
Yes, we did talk about that, and I completely forgot, but that's a very interesting theory. That was my first instinct too. That was like, how did he survive? Like, is this preserving him? Is he like in some, almost eternal sleep, and then they'll be able to retrieve him, or has no time passed at all for him? Like, I don't know. Assuming it is Steve inside, I would assume that's where they're going.
With it. we don't know that it's Steve. That's a very fair point. And given the way this show has twisted and turned before, who knows? But I don't know. I'm definitely looking forward to that next episode for Captain Carter. Mm-hmm. But this is a wrap on season 1 of What If. And I mean, what were your overall thoughts?
I really liked it. I liked it more as we went along. Like that. Mm-hmm. First episode. I mean, it for me, it got better. I think almost every week. I'm trying to think where there was one in there where I wasn't as thrilled, but I enjoyed this. I'm not gonna, to be honest, it's not my favorite in terms of like the other live action shows that we've had, but this was really fun and really satisfying.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, I think this was going to be the case for this show right from the beginning, that, Marvel fans, 2 things. One, it's animation. It's just never going to be as popular as the live action stuff. People aren't going to associate it with the MCU, no matter how much they tell us it is associated with that, or in the same multiverse at least. But 2, the other thing was that it's not a continuous story, or at least it wasn't for the first, 7 weeks. So, there's no hook to get somebody to come back for the next week. Sure. You have no idea what the next step is. You're not interested necessarily, like, right from the beginning. So I think that, some people probably fell off. And I mean, being the quote unquote Marvel guy, friends and family text me after every episode of Loki or Falcon the Winter Soldier, and like, hey, what do you think about this? I didn't get that during What If. So like, it was clear to me that this didn't quite have the same audience that the other shows do. So I didn't, I don't think people are going to look at it as like, oh, that's my favorite Marvel show. But I really enjoyed it too. I liked it. This finale blew me away. The last 2 episodes really blew me away. I did not expect them to connect like that and tell this sort of cohesive story. So I really enjoyed it. Definitely looking forward to season 2. I mean, and just the fact that we have no idea what's going to come in season 2. Just it could be 10 or 9, whatever, however many different stories it's going to be. We know Captain Carter. That's what we know about season 2 so far. So definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
All right. So do we have some Marvel must-haves for this week?
Yes, we do. Sorry, I don't have my screen completely ready for you. Let me.
No problem.
Okay, there we go. I will share that and switch over. Yes, we have actually. I'm gonna do 2 weeks worth, and I'll keep this brief. But we've got the Thor, the Party Thor merchandise. I mean, like, how fun is that? I believe this pop is already sold out, but it was at Walmart exclusively, so you may be able to find it somewhere. But yeah, I like that he's holding his little goblet there. And
is he spinning Mjolnir? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, isn't that really cool?
That's really awesome.
So you can see why that would have sold out really fast. And then Rockham, of course, had some socks. I think I've got. Oh, and then they've also got these the montage Thor socks. I don't know why I'm getting the little tag popping up. Then. Yeah, we've got the Party Thor shirt. Of course, there's plenty of options at Hot Topic, and then there was another one with him and the spinning hammer. So kind of fun. And then last week we had some stuff for Black Widow. I have to look again. This Ultron with Vision pop was not available yet. And I'm sure it's one of those things that's going to go super fast. He's got the Infinity Stones in his armor here, as you can see. But yeah, some fun stuff there. And then on Shop Disney, they have a customizable, I guess I can't zoom in, or maybe I can. Yeah, there we go. There's a customizable phone case. So if you're really into that version of Natasha, and we've also got her on a mug. If I can get that to.
Which, while we're looking at this character, I wanted to mention too that Lake Bell did a fantastic job.
Of the voice actors that were not the original characters, she became my favorite, and I could she doesn't sound like Scarlett Johansson, but she definitely that same Black Widow vibe. Yeah, that carried over more so than, for me at least, than the others. Not to say that nobody did a good job, but right. Yeah, Lake was a great choice. This one's kind of fun.
Oh yeah, I do like that one.
And then there's also one at yeah, and this one at Shop Disney, post-apocalyptic, right there on the shirt with her, and I like that it's her logo as well. Yeah, so that is cool. But yeah, that's at Shop Disney, and yeah, we'll hopefully have the there's some other shirts, of course, at Hot Topic. We've got this one, that we've had all along. Right, just switching out the character with the Watcher. Yeah. But yeah, this I'm excited for this. This looks cool. That is really awesome. That's going to be one. You're 100% right. That's going to be gone in seconds. Yeah, it goes on sale. So maybe if you're lucky, you'll get it. But I don't have anything for it right now. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that one because that's really awesome. And I guess we'll probably have more stuff next week for this episode. I can't imagine they won't do something with the Guardians of the Multiverse. Yeah. I'm anticipating that there would be figures in the Marvel Legends line as well, but maybe not. Maybe we'll get a Gamora now that the show is released. Yeah, I'm guessing we'll get a Gamora pop probably with that Thanos armor on. So, yeah, so some fun stuff. More reasons for me to go broke. I know, right? It's not like you want to buy anything else. Right. Let's jump into the Marvel news for this week. And well, really some of the past 2 weeks because we weren't here last week. So we have a little bit to catch up on. Some of the big news from the 50th anniversary over at Walt Disney World, as if we haven't covered that enough in the past few days. But and if you haven't been following along, laughingplace.com has all the coverage you could possibly want from the 50th anniversary. So go and check that out. One of the biggest kind of announcements, I guess, was that Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind will be opening at Epcot in 2022. That's it. We don't have a specific date,
but next year it's going to open, and we'll get to, experience Guardians again on the East Coast, and not just in Disneyland or Disney California Adventure. So I'm excited, really looking forward to this new attraction.
Yeah, me too. I love roller coasters, and there's going to be that little bit of a spin element to it as well.
Yeah, it's a show coaster. I forget, there's a whole long term for it, but yeah, so like an omni coaster that's going to turn and show you scenes as you're still moving, like it's a roller coaster. So it's going to be wild. Jeremiah and Benji got to actually see inside and see, just how massive this building is, and hearing how blown away they were by the size of it got me that much more excited. I'm really, really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
So we also got some news regarding Scarlett Johansson and that whole lawsuit that she was involved in with the earnings from Black Widow and all of that. That got settled between her and the Walt Disney Company. Great news. We know that bridge has not been burned, that they can still happily work together. And the biggest piece of news that comes from this is actually not Marvel related, but it's just the fact that she's going to work on the Tower of Terror movie that she was already slated to star in and executive produce, I believe. So that's exciting news for Disney fans. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm just surprised at how Disney responded to her, and then how quickly everything was settled. Like, it almost seems to me like, oh, we didn't actually mean to release that statement. Like, it was an incorrect statement, but it got out. So I don't know. Yeah. But I'm glad that they were able to settle.
Yeah, definitely agree there. And like I said before too, I'm not saying anything specific here, but doors are open in the MCU for any character to return. So just throwing that out there.
That's true.
Speaking of the MCU, Eternals will be premiering on October 24th. Its world premiere will be at the Rome Film Festival, and it's the first time in a Marvel Studios film will be closing a film festival. So that's exciting. What is that? October 24th is the date for that. So we'll start to hear some things, hopefully not too much, but some things about Eternals around then. So, and then the movie hits theaters in the US on November 5th. So definitely looking forward to that.
I'm guessing we'll probably be getting teasers and like featurettes soon, because they just released, there's only 2 trailers for this, which I guess is pretty common, but,
well, it depends. I mean, for Black Widow, I feel like we got 12, but that was also
they also had like a year to fill with, like, we promise it's still coming.
And speaking of Black Widow, that was among the Marvel projects nominated for Hollywood Professional Association Awards, the HPA Awards. Let me see if I can find real quick just some of the awards that the Marvel projects were nominated for. We got WandaVision for outstanding color grading, Black Widow for outstanding visual effects. What else do we have here? The Falcon and the Winter Soldier are also for outstanding visual effects, but feature film versus episodic. Loki was also nominated for that same award. So I mean, everything Marvel has done has been successful in that way. Which is not surprising to say the least right now.
Right. Yeah. And that's one of those things where you're like, color grading. But I think if they didn't have it, like, we don't realize what all goes into this. But if it wasn't there, we'd be like, that didn't feel right.
Jumping back to Eternals, we had some Eternals merchandise pop up in Disneyland that I'm sure this was Mike C. got to take a look at over in Disneyland. So this seems a little bit early to me. Like, I feel like, I mean, it's been so long since we've seen a movie come out like on schedule. So I don't remember what it's supposed to be like, but this seems like the merch came out. I mean, we're still a full month ahead of its theatrical release. So it seems a little bit early, but shows that we are getting closer and closer to this movie hitting theaters.
Well, maybe they're also trying to create space for SpiderMan as well, which I know that's a joint production. I know Sony's part of that as well. So
yeah, but they're going to have some SpiderMan merch. They're also going to have Hawkeye merch coming out after that as well. So
goodness, wow. The end of the year is going to be insane.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy to think it's October. We only have 3 months left in this year, and still have 3 Marvel projects to hit. So yeah, it's going to be pretty crazy. We're going to be a little bit busy. Eternals merch on the East Coast at Walt Disney World. We have the new Eternals Magic Band, which kind of interesting. Feels like they were moving away from Magic Bands. Now they have the Magic Band Plus that's going to come out next year. I don't know what direction they're going, but I'm sure Marvel fans will be excited to pick these up. I haven't personally used the Magic Band in quite a while, so probably we'll skip this one. But it is a really cool design, and I think people will be excited about it.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised with the animated style of the characters instead of their faces, but I mean the actors, but I mean it's definitely in their likeness.
Yes. I think this kind of animated design actually works better with the Magic Band. I always found it a little bit weird when you have live action characters on there. It just didn't feel right.
You're like, I've got a picture of Scarlett Johansson on my
Yes, Doobie, don't get any ideas. Yeah, so I like it. I like the design, but again, probably won't be something that I rush out to get. We did have some Lego sets for Eternals and SpiderMan No Way Home. I don't know what the reasoning is here, but Legos tend to be the toy that spoils things for movies. So I've tried to keep my distance with these, but I didn't see anything really that seems very spoilery, which is great. Hopefully that doesn't become a problem anymore.
Yeah, when I was looking through these, I also figured, well, it's Lego, so these are, since they're sets that are actually designed for kids, they're not some of the grander things. These are actual play sets. There's some characters that are included in the Spider-Man sets that I was like, is this a spoiler, or is this just your kid is going to want to the kids are going to want to play with Spider-Man and these other characters. So, but yeah, I was wondering about that too. I'm like, this feels like it could be spoilery, but it also feels like
right. Yeah, and I would say for the most part too, there are only spoilers that hit for really nerdy comic book fans like me. Like, for example, when Thor Ragnarok, when those toys started to come out, the Lego set included the Fenris wolf, and Marvel fans were like, "Oh, the wolf is going to be a part of this movie," and so that sort of became the trend with Lego and toys in general. I don't want to specifically just single out Lego, but toys tend to spoil things a little bit. So, but with these, not so much. Aside from, like you said, some characters that we don't know will actually show up in this movie. So, but there are some really cool Lego sets. There's 3 of them for each movie, so there's a lot to choose from.
Yeah, and the Eternals ones look really, really cool.
Yes. Yeah, there's a Lego Celestial, which I want a real, like you said, this is the kids' play sets. I want a real Lego Celestial set, and I want it to be 3 feet tall. That would be really cool.
Maybe once the movie comes out, they'll be like, surprise, we have all these other items. And then interestingly, with the Eternals, the different sets have different characters. So if you want all of the minifigures of the characters, there's some that are only in one set, and there's a few characters that are in 2 or 3 of them. But yeah, they made a point to be like, oh, this is the only set that has this character.
They know what they're doing over there at Lego.
Yes, they do.
Another piece of Marvel merch, we have the 20th anniversary of the Marvel Legends series is coming up, and this new 20th anniversary Captain America figure will be coming in spring 2022. Really, really cool classic comic book look with that electric effect on the shield. That's really awesome.
Do you have the original from 2002?
No, I wish I did. That would be really awesome. But I didn't really start collecting anything like this until much more recently. So
now, are you a figure collector who keeps them in your Marvel Legends in the boxes, or
I
do they come out for display?
I would if I wasn't doing unboxing videos for
That's true. Okay.
So that kind of goes out the window there. And then yes, a lot of them end up on display. So as I look at the 3 foot tall Sentinel standing in the corner of my room. So yeah, that they're all out of the box. That's for sure.
Cool.
And then we'll finish up with a few pieces of comic book news. We learned Marauders, and a Marauders annual will be coming in January, and this will be a follow-up to that limited Inferno series that is supposedly going to burn Krakoa to the ground and completely revamp the world of the mutants. And I don't know. I don't know what to expect. We've been told things like this with X-Men crossovers before. Ten of Swords didn't really change all that much aside from creating a different universe. But I don't know. We'll see where this goes. I'm looking forward to it. I do like that we have like sort of a different lineup for the Marauders here. We still have Kate Pryde, but it looks like she is flanked here by Daken and Psylocke. So that's an interesting trio of characters. So that should be pretty fun.
Who's the monster?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's a new character that they're introducing for it could be something coming out of Inferno. We'll have to see.
Cool.
Or it could be just a gap in my mutants knowledge because there's just an infinite amount of them, and I need Wanda.
You need to save room for the MCU because
right.
That's what you're reporting on.
No, what I need is Wanda to help me out and eliminate half of them again. Just now.
Oh, be careful what you wish for.
One of the weirder pieces of Marvel comics. We have a variant cover coming out for Black Panther #1, which we'll have a little bit more to say about in just a second. But this one features New York Giants running back Saquon Barkley.
He's going to make one of your drafts, right?
Yes. I'm sure Kyle will find a way to work him into a draft in the future in Zach's life for sure. He's already drafted LeBron James for our basketball team draft. So we'll see how that comes up again in the future. But so this is going to be a very limited variant cover. I'm sure Giants fans will scoop them up pretty quickly. And then we did get the actual Black Panther #1 cover. And this is cool. This is a really, really cool cover and sort of encompasses the whole history of Black Panther in just this one cover. And so I really like they managed to put all of that in there. And this is the new series. This is, remember, Ta-Nehisi Coates' long-running Black Panther series wrapped up either earlier this year or late last year. So this is a brand new Black Panther series coming from writer John Ridley. So this should be pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to the next step for Black Panther.
Is that Storm on the cover there?
Yes. Yeah, you got Storm in there. You have the Avengers. You have Dora Milaje. You have, all of Wakanda, basically. Like every, the War Dogs are in there and everything. So you've got a lot going on, and I am really excited to see where this story goes.
It's really pretty cover.
Yeah, definitely. That's gonna do it. That was a lot of news to get through. We weren't around last week, so we had some more to catch up on. But and we don't have another Marvel show to talk about.
I know.
Hang on, we left out one detail on the cover that Kyle points out. Thank you, Kyle. Earth is also there. We won't have What If to talk about next week. So things are going to go back to. I was going to say normal, but I guess this has been our normal. We haven't had a week without extra Marvel content to talk about, really. So we're going to have a little bit of a break. We'll still be here to talk about comics and the latest Marvel news, but we're a little bit of a break between What If and then Hawkeye, or actually Eternals first and then Hawkeye. So, like I said, we'll still be here to talk about everything else happening in the world of Marvel. So be sure to check back next week. Zacks of Life will still be going on. We're gonna break down the finale of What If again. That episode will come out this upcoming Monday, and then we're gonna have another episode to talk about Shang-Chi because we haven't gotten a chance to do that just yet.
Oh yeah, wow, that's right.
yeah, it's been a little while now, but we're finally gonna get to do that, and then a little bit of a shorter break before we get into Eternals there. So yeah, Bekah, what else do you have going on?
Not too much. Just trying to keep on top of all this merchandise and gearing up for the holidays. But
I'm sure that's going to be a crazy season for Barely Necessities when the holiday merch starts coming out. Be sure to follow along with Laughing Place on all the socials and keep up on all the latest Disney news in general and the latest Marvel news especially. And we'll see you again next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.